Oh, hello, everybody. I'm Randall Baxter. I'm the president of Asset Positioning Services, and this is our weekly training, normally at 3 o'clock on Tuesdays. And for the past month, I've been doing things to consider for 2024. And today, the title of the show, or whatever you want to call it, is called Expectations. Um, as the year goes on, as 2024 goes on, I have to get more and more serious about expectations because we're growing so fast, and people are needing my time, and so it needs to be a mutual transfer of expectations. So let's talk about that. For our purposes today, expectations should be mutual shared primary promises, and if you need to be congruent. So I want to review that because I got an email from a licensee today that probably never should have been a licensee, just wasn't into it, and we had to part ways because I probably should have never let him in. But anyway, a strong belief. Here's my expectations, and I want them to be yours too. There has to be a strong belief that something will happen or be the case in the future, and there has to be a belief that someone will or should achieve something. And the third one is a mathematical thing. And an expectation is another term for expected value. And when I talk about, I can teach you all how to make $250,000 a year very easily. I'm not just blowing smoke. It is very, very easy to earn $250,000 a year if you follow my program, my teachings, and you follow them to the letter. Don't change them, don't modify them. But if you don't expect to do it or you can't see yourself doing it, I understand that. To be honest with you, I can see that you don't expect that sometimes just by looking at your production records and talking to you and realizing that you're not staying on the program. So and that's okay. That's your choice. I just need y'all to understand that there's limited time, and for me to be one-on-one with people, and I need you to be following what I teach and what I show you because it's good, it works. So anyway, I have to make an assumption when you come to me and say I want to be a licensee, or when I recruit you as a licensee. And that assumption is I have to think that, or you must be looking for something. There's either something missing, or you're looking for an easier path, or you're looking for a better way, or maybe you're not getting the coaching that you need. So I just want to ask you all to consider right now, and maybe take some notes or to ask some questions here in a little bit. What is it you seek? What is it you're looking for when you say, hey, I want to do business with Randall Baxter and Asset Positioning Services and Family Estate Docs and Family Tree Asset Positioning? What is it you're looking for? Are you looking for stability of income? Well, I can help you have that. Are you just looking for additional income? I can help you get it. Are you looking for a way to go back to talk to your existing clients? This is the perfect way. Are you looking for a way to approach those who have not done business with you in the past? This is the perfect way. Are you looking for a better way, a process? Those are what I'm finding. All the licensees are when they come to me, there's something in there that they're looking for. Here's the question though, will you know it when you see it? I feel bad about that licensee today. He can't see it. He couldn't see it. And that's okay. So first of all, if you're out talking to people, especially you guys that want to be, and girls that want to be master licensees, I want you to know who I am. I'm nothing great, but you need to know who I am and what I do. It might help you decide if this is where you want to be, because what I do is not for everyone. It can be, but if it's not for you, I can't change what I do for you. I have to ask you to change what you do for this process, because I can't let you change this process. So, my name's Randall Baxter. I'm a former school teacher. I'm a current career life insurance agent. I'm a former training supervisor for a major Eastern Mutual company. We misspelled a word there, Linda. Former training supervisor for a major Eastern Mutual company. I'm the owner and president of Asset Positioning Services, LLC. I'm a registered investment advisor. I'm also an author. I've written several books. Approach Plan Succeed is an ebook that you get, and lesson 1. Family Tree Asset Positioning, to go to first interview. You get that in one of the future lessons. I've also written a couple of military history books that's because I'm just a nut about that kind of stuff. But I am also someone who wants to teach you what I know. Now, I want to know what you know that benefits me in my process. But I don't want to know about your bad habits. I don't want to know about your failures. I want to teach you how to succeed and how to do what we do in order to get rid of all that bad thinking. So I'm also someone who wants to teach you what I do. And I am a willing mentor, just like in the book with the seagulls in the first book. I'm a willing mentor who's been properly mentored myself. I'm going to be honest with you, I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars being properly mentored, and it pays me back. And it's because I follow what they do. They didn't change what they did. They taught me what they do, and I do what they do. So I'm asking you, I want the job of training and coaching you in the art of adding estate planning to your product and service portfolio. That's it. That's the primary promise that I bring to this relationship. So, I use a primary promise, and I provide the unique mechanisms required for success. So, folks, and again, if you're going to build a downline, and some of you are building a downline as we speak, my primary promise to you is I will teach you the process, but you have to implement. If you don't implement, you're just floating around unguided, unmentored. I don't know why you do that. If you do it, you have to implement what I teach. And I do that using a series of training lessons, group instruction and drill, which is what this is, individual instruction, and then I also do performance reviews. I do performance reviews on every licensee every month. And I look and I see what's going on, and sometimes I ask the question, why did this person give me $495 10 months ago and have yet to generate a sale? Why did they do that? Why do they not communicate? And then I have other people that gave me $495 and have already earned $700,000, $800,000. And several people that gave me $495 and have already sold millions of dollars worth of annuity contracts. And then when I talk to them and I say, what'd you do? Most of them say, well, we followed your process. I went, oh, good. Well, anyway. So anyway, if you will do my primary promise, and then together we'll apply the unique mechanisms. And folks, we have to drill this in. If you're not using these unique mechanisms, why are you attending class? The family tree asset positioning go-to first interview is you have to learn it. You have to master it. You have to understand all the psychology behind it, all the sales psychology behind it, all the power phrases and why you do it and why people appreciate you doing it for them in front of their spouse. The Family Estate Docs estate planning software is the easiest to use, easiest to learn estate planning software in this country. And then when you get the great coaching and training at the same time, you can see why it's such a unique mechanism. And then we pivot you to the Retire Now income planning software if you want it. We don't require that you take it. We don't require that you use it. I'm not sure why you wouldn't. Some of you take off on a life insurance sale real quick. And if you just do the income analysis first, you'll see that the life insurance sale is easy. And then people ask me sometimes, why do a 90-day plan reviewed every 30 days? It's because it gives you time to make corrections and to see, if you had a cold or a flu for a couple of days, or if there was an issue that took you away from the business, you can adjust that by increasing your momentum at the very first point, which is increase the number of approaches. You don't have to do anything else but increase the number of approaches and follow the cycle of success. And if you're struggling every month for income and not following these directions, I have to assume that maybe struggling every month for income is where you want to be. Well, that's true. So, I will train you in the use of the easy to learn estate planning software called Family Estate Docs. If I don't, and next week, that's what the class is going to be, and I'm going to lead the discussion on how to use the software so that everybody be on the same page. And you folks that want to be master licensees and senior master licensees, you need to you'll have access to this video with me teaching it so that you can host the Zoom call yourself and just say, it all starts with committing to the marketing process we teach at Asset Positioning Service. It's called the cycle of success. We use my book, Approach, Plan, Succeed. We use the Family Tree Asset Positioning Go-To First Interview Sales Script. We train and coach as you grow. It's superior to all other business plans for financial service professions looking to grow and scale their business. Because, folks, this is so new, but it's like you can see out in the ocean, you see a wave coming, and it's coming. It's called estate planning. And you've got this opportunity to be way ahead of everybody. And we are the only people that teach you how to sell estate planning. Everybody else wants you to buy their software and move your business to their IMO. And we don't focus on that. We focus on teaching you to sell estate plans. Yes, you can move your business anywhere you want. But I offer to teach you generically what products work best, and I will not ask you to move your contracts. But if you ask, I will introduce you to my mentors in product sales and analysis who have made my life easier and more successful. I will introduce you to them. And I'll be honest with you, I would not introduce you to them if they hadn't made my life easier and more successful. I don't know all the other people and all the other IMOs. There's some other great IMOs. I know that, but I don't work for any IMO except to place my business when I write it. And I've been with several IMOs, but I finally found one that teaches me what I need to know. And like I said, it's made my life easier and more successful. So now you know who I am. Okay. And this is what I'm about to get into here, folks. Pretty serious, because I want you to know who I am, and then I want to tell you who I want to work with. It's that serious. This is who, and I'm at a point where I can get selective on who I work with, and it doesn't matter if you're a beginner or a mediocre or a medium person or a big producer. I can tell by your mindset if I want to work with you. So I'm going to tell you why. This is who I want to work with. I hope it's you. I need a financial service professionals who understand that estate planning is a key element in the financial planning process. I want, that person wants to learn a superior process that's easy to learn, intellectually stimulating for themselves and their clients, and a no-brainer. A lot of licensees come to me and say, yes, I want it. Oh, it hurts to have to do what you have to do. Oh no, I can't do that. Well, that's just, I'm not going to say the word. Starts with bull. So why do I want to look for that kind of person? And here we're going to talk about an avatar. And if you're a licensee on this thing today, yesterday and today, I sent you just a brief spreadsheet on an avatar. And I sent you the generic avatar yesterday. And then I sent you the avatar for a suspect today. And then when I hear somebody say, I don't have anybody to talk to, All I want to say to them is open your eyes. Listen to what we have to say. Listen to what we are teaching you to say. It's the same sentence. It's one sentence. So I need an avatar who will be able to approach, when taught correctly, those who have done business with them in the past and those who have not done business with them in the past. It is just that simple. And you folks that are struggling with that, that's a hang up. So let's hang it up. You know, if it, this is what you would expect from a professional sales organization that teaches the estate planning process and how to sell it, then my company is right for you. I guess I could go up there and say, if this is not what you would expect from a professional sales organization that teaches the estate planning process and how to sell it, then my company is not right for you. I had the Family Tree Asset Positioning Go-To First Interview. I wrote it. It works. I use it almost every day. I guess I use it because it works. I wouldn't use it too long if it didn't work. I have the easy to learn and use software called Family Estate Docs. You do too if you're a licensee. If you're thinking about being a licensee, you won't get a better deal. You won't get a better mentor. You won't get better lessons. My training programs are called Advanced Training Spoon Fed. I can teach you in 30 days by giving you 10-minute projects every day for 30 days to be an estate planner. I can also provide for you the fast track training if you don't want to do it in 30 days. If you want to do it over the weekend, I'll give you the exact same lessons in what I call fast track training. We also give you the website at randallbaxter.com, and you click on a button called FTAP Training, and you need the password. And I've got all the demonstration videos on there, and we add a new video every week. So doesn't matter where you are, if you're having a problem, you can go to that website, randallbaxter.com, FTAP Training, type in the password, FTAP, capital letters, no space, courses, COURSES. And you can look and pick out the topic that you need to study. But, I have expectations too. I do not want to work with people with poor work ethics and patterns of low production and failure to launch. If you want to buy my lessons and do nothing with it, it's okay. I understand that. But don't expect me to try to, don't expect me to try to push or pull you to success. You have to already know that what you're doing is the right path to follow. If you're a beginner, I will help you. I will help you do every stage. I will teach you how to walk. I'll teach you how to run. I'll teach you how to jump. I'll teach you how to fly. If you want to learn. But don't expect me to beg you to walk or to beg you to run or beg you to jump or beg you to fly. So, I want you to show respect, honor, and have integrity. If you show up for training until you meet the minimum production goals, that's all I require, because some people I've already trained they're trained, they're moving on, they don't need me. And that's a sign of a good trainer. If I can get you to a point where you don't need to be here, I've done a good job. Then we can be friends and we can watch you grow, and you'll probably wind up teaching some of these classes for me. I want you to show respect for the program, and I want you to show honor and have integrity. I want you to show up for training until you meet the minimum production goals. After that, if I'm a good trainer, you don't need to be here. If I'm a good trainer and you're a good student, it won't take you 2 to 4 or 5 months to where you can be independent and growing. And when you send me an email, we'll be talking about fishing or something like that, and I'll be answering your questions on products. And I'll be helping you train your downline if that's what you want. But you have to put the effort in. You have to commit to our company primary promise to our clients. You have to understand the value of our unique mechanisms. You have to communicate your goals and let me help you get there. You know, I, I don't want to talk to you about step 6 if you haven't accomplished and mastered step 1, because it doesn't do either of us any good. And that's important. You're all my friends, but if you're skipping and want to go into something that's more advanced, and I can't get you to make an appointment, it's almost a waste of time. So here's the primary promise. This is the one sentence that ought to make you $250,000 to $500,000 this year. It's that serious. It's that easy. And if it doesn't work when you approach your first 10, I think that there's a problem in your identification process, your avatar descriptions. That's why I sent that email today with the avatars. All you have to do is say, you will benefit from a conversation with me about your current estate plan. That's all you have to do. And, people say, well, you keep repeating that. You keep repeating that. You keep repeating that. Yeah, I do. Because that's what opens the door. That's the knock. That's the doorbell. But, if you're going to be a licensee, you have to commit to your decision to learn and pursue this process. I can't do that for you. Everyone's next step is determined by where you are, who you want to become, and what are your available resources. And if you are such a beginner that you need me to teach you to spell estate, I will do that for you. As long as you're making progress, I will work with you on whatever level you are on. But I don't want to hear why you can't do something. That's a decision you have to make before you become a licensee. And I don't want to hear that you don't follow our system. It's okay if you don't. It's okay if you're making good money. It just makes me wonder why you want that kind of tax deduction that is not productive. So there's a new dawn approaching, and again, you look out in that ocean, you see that wave coming. It's called estate planning. And I just want to ask you, have you set your goals and business plan for the upcoming year? And if you set your goals and business plans for the upcoming year, are you serious about it? Some of you all say, hey, I want to make $250,000, but you consistently make $1,500 a month. I can't take you to $250,000 overnight. I have to teach you the steps. I have to coach you through the process. I have to listen to your issues, and we need to identify them and fix them. So let me just ask you a question then. What are your income goals? Okay. Now, start for 2024, start with your basic needs. Do not be grandiose, but just state the answer for your needed income for January. Is it 4,000? Is it 5,000? Is it 10,000? Is it 20,000? Don't tell me 20,000 if you've never made 20,000 in your life in 1 month. If you've consistently made $5,000, let's state the answer, then ask the question how to get there. Your initial goal should be no greater than your annual income divided by 12. Let's get you your first sale first. Once we teach you to make your first sale, then we have broken through the barrier, because now all we have to do is go back and say, what was it that you did that led you to the first sale? And let's increase the number of times we do that. So the answers are all mathematical. I'm no genius. I know that if I cast my lure 10 times and catch one fish, if I want to catch two, I probably have to cast it 20. You have to create the math formula. I use 10-7-3-1 because that's what works for me, but it's always worked for me. And you have to implement the cycle of success. If you're not making the money you want to make and you're frustrated with it and not implementing the cycle of success, then you're coming to class and taking a nap instead of listening. So, so let's just discuss how adding estate planning to your product and service portfolio works. Then, using the front end and back end sales concept, let's change your career if you want to change your career. Again, I asked you earlier, why are you here? And everybody should be able to answer that. And we have to start with your approach technique. You have to go to randallbaxter.com, go to FTAP training, and watch a video there. There's a video there that says why you need to use the right approach. It's in the left-hand column about halfway down. And some of you are afraid to approach, period. And some of you are getting better at it every week. I got a testimonial in today from an agent that said, Randy, I used what you taught me finally. He said, I'm sorry it took me so long, but I used it the first time and it worked. And I've got one word for that. And I hope you're ready for it. That word is But failure or success starts with mindset. So are you comfortable where you are? If you're comfortable where you are, you're going to have a hard time changing. So I call that a plateau, an income plateau. And I want to ask you a question. Are you comfortable that growth and success are stymied? If growth and success are stymied, ask the question, because the question is usually the answer. You have to want to break out. You have to want to grow or at least become more efficient. You have to have a business plan. A business plan that leads to long-term care. Okay, you product salesmen are struggling for a way to get in front of a client. If you use our process, it leads to long-term care discussions. It leads to asset-based long-term care. It leads to income planning discussions. It leads to current health status considerations. It leads to liquidity reviews. It leads to annuity reviews. It leads to life insurance discussions, retirement conversations, IRA reviews, 401k options, and advocate discussions. One go-to first interview. One approach. One approach. One go-to first interview. One close. One second interview. Big income. Plus the opportunity to build your agency using one go-to first interview. And what you're going to find is some of you are going to say, God, Randy harped on this for a year, and I didn't follow it. And now I'm trying to teach people, and now all I can do is tell them to do the same thing because that's what works. So, if we keep it simple, and a lot of y'all try to make this hard, and it's not hard, especially if you have the agenda in your pocket folded up on a piece of paper. But this can lead to established career paths and mentorship, because once you learn this, people are going to come to you and go, how do you do that? It's going to make it possible for you to attract, retrain, and reward talented professionals. It's going to help you create and implement an ideal compensation philosophy. It'll help you motivate your team to work cohesively. That's what I want to do. I consider you guys our team. And some of you I wouldn't put in the game if I was the coach. I'd leave you on the bench. And some of you I'd send you in every play you were willing to go in on, because I know you'd follow the game plan. I hope that makes sense. But, first you got to get your house in order. Some of you don't have your house in order. You have to have a mathematical solution that can be converted into a business plan, then implemented with personal accountability. And folks, if you need to make $10,000 in January, that's maybe 2 or 3 estate plans and one back-end sale to a lower middle class income person. You want to make $20,000 a month, 2 or 3 estate plan sales to a middle income person. You want to make $100,000 a year, sell 3 or 4 estate plans and close more than one of them. That's all. I mean, it's so simple. And if you've looked at this, it's just that easy if you're prepared and committed. So what is your first step? You have to find the numbers it takes to make your first sale. And you have to throw away all the garbage. You have to say, hey, that person was a suspect. And when I talk to you and I go, hey, they weren't a suspect, really, were they? Because they did not think that they would benefit from a conversation with you about their current estate plan. If you're talking to them about baseball games, if you get an appointment and talk, all you do is talk baseball, they weren't a prospect because you didn't have an appointment to talk with them on a favorable basis about the topic you were choosing to talk to them about. That's where you become a master salesperson. And I know that a new licensee will make 3 estate plan sales if the licensee follows our process. Our process is approach 10 suspects that the licensee believes would benefit from a conversation about that suspect's current estate plan. And you know what? That's not 1, that's not 5, that's not 9, it's 10. And if you go in and say, well, I'm only going to do 5, well, I'm going to say, great, you're going to have half the income that you say you want. So some of you have, your incomes are just shooting up like rockets, and some of you are just not shooting straight with me. You may be comfortable with $1,500 or $2,000 a month. If that's true, don't tell me you want $150,000 a month. I will teach you how to make $2,000 or $4,000 in a month based on where you are, and then I'll say, okay, now let's increase the momentum. Let's maybe increase the quality of the prospect. Let's maybe work a little bit better on your presentations, because some of you don't even follow a presentation. So you have to commit to a plan of approach. You do that through personal observation. You do it through top of mind awareness. You do it through advocacy. You don't do it through all these things. You only have to pick one. You do it through sincerity. You can do it through tenacity. You can do it through implementation. You can do it through follow-up. You can do an examination of what works. You can do an examination of what's not working. You can adjust your 90-day plan every 30 days to maintain or increase your momentum. And you can repeat that until the math works. I know 10-7 is the starting goal, 10-7-3. I know that's the starting goal. If you don't believe me, you shouldn't be in my program. I wouldn't tell you it was if it wasn't. If you want to be involved as a new licensee, approach 10 people in week 1 or month 1. Either way doesn't matter to me, because I want you to grow at your pace. I want you to grow at your pace using my program, because I'll be honest with you, some of you, your program doesn't work. I think that's why you're here. So I don't want you to bring your program here and try to adapt it. I want you to follow our program so that you can grow using the simplest of all approaches and the simplest of all presentations and the simplest of all retire right now or income planning presentations. So if you do 10, then you're going to have 7 go-to first interviews. But only if the person you approach thinks that they're going to benefit from a conversation with you about their estate plan. If they don't think that, you're wasting your time. If you can't pick somebody that you think would benefit, you're wasting your time. But if you approach 10, 7 will meet with you, and 3 of them will talk to you seriously about their estate plans, and there's a real good chance that 3 of them are going to buy. But if you did that every week, you're going into the 3rd week, and you're going to have 10 approaches, 7 first interviews, and probably 3 or 4 back-end interviews, and then you're busy. And maybe you might make too much money. So listen to me here. If you have all the good qualities of a professional, sincere process manager, you will, even as a rookie, approach 10, have 7 appointments, sell 3, make 1 good back end sale. The only momentum factor is the time frame that best suits your goals. If you tell me that you want to do 10 over the next quarter, over the next 3 months, I'm going to go, okay, that's fine. But that doesn't mean I want you to change the process. That just means I want you to slow down my expected momentum, and that's okay because I want to work with you on the level you want to work with, as long as you follow the system we teach. So that's why I do performance reviews. And some of you, I don't even talk to you because you don't talk to me, but you just keep paying your money. You will want to discuss your performance review with me. You might not want to hear what I have to say because I'm sure sometimes I'm a little bit too honest or brutal, but I don't mean to be. If you come to me and say, I need to identify my problem, I can look at your performance review and tell you exactly what the problem is. It's either you're not you're not identifying people that you think would benefit from a conversation with you, and you're not walking up to them and telling them that you think that they would benefit from a conversation with you. And when you go in for the first interview, you're not doing the go-to first interview correctly. And if you're not doing the first interview correctly, you get a whole bunch of I want to think about it. But if you're doing it correctly, you're going to get a yes or a no. If you're getting a maybe on that level, there's something you're doing wrong. So this is how I identify it. I look and see what's working and what's not working. That's how the company in your agency grows. That's how my company grows. If I look at you and say, well, that's not working, we need to go in and find out what's not working. And then once we identify what's not working, if you don't change it, that's up to you. Because I won't change what I say. I can't. I won't. There's no need to. So what's the math? Remember I told you earlier a few minutes ago, it's all in the arithmetic. If you do 10 low-cost correct approaches, you're going to get 7 appointments. You're going to make 3 family estate doc sales. That's going to be $3,900 minus $150 in Godiva delivery costs, including credit fees. And that means you're going to put $3,450 in your pocket. 1 back-end sale using the income analysis we teach. I'll tell you, if you'll pick the right people, the average sale is $200,000. And that's about a $14,000, maybe $15,000 commission. And the total in month 1 with only 10 approaches in the month is $17,450. Wouldn't this solve your cash flow formula? If not, we can modify the formula. If 17,000 is not enough, I'm going to say, well, you're living a life like Randy. We need to up your production a little bit. Okay. Or it might be, hey, I made so much money, I don't think I'm going to work for a couple months. And then I'm going to say, okay, but you're going to get rusty and fall out of the habit. So, all I'm saying to you, and again, I'm not going to push you, I'm not going to pull you, I'm not going to beg you. I'm just going to say, would this be worth learning to implement? Would you be willing to implement and examine the issues you have in the first month, to examine what is working and what is not? If you are, I'll work with you. I'd love to work with you. But most failures by my licensees who fail have a failure mindset. And I've talked to you about mindset before. But I'm going to show you a list. Out of 101 licensees, we've had 22 drop out this year. And that's not bad. But anyway, I'm going to show you why they dropped out. Now, here it is. I went back through it and I looked at my notes on these people. And this is why people fail. They expect to fail. They've expected to fail in everything they've done. That's why they get skinny children and renting instead of buying and don't live the life that they want. But also I found out they're not willing to commit. That was the problem I had with a licensee this morning. He was not willing to commit, but he was willing to complain. And that's where I drew the line. I said, oh my gosh, this guy's got to go. They are comfortable living a subsistence income life. They're comfortable where they are. Oh, and if you're already making $10,000 and you don't see any need to do it, that's okay. I understand that. That's great. And some people are just not willing to pay the cost of success. And sometimes the cost of success is learning what you're doing wrong and learning what you need to do right. And there's always the lazy ones and the skeptical ones and the distracted ones. I've got licensees who tell me all the time, "Oh, I've got so much going on that I'm willing to pay you and tell you I need to learn, but I'm not willing to give it the time to learn." And some of them, they just have a generally poor mindset. They need a different job. Product salesperson, not a process professional. And the biggest one, no business plan. If you don't have a business plan for 2024 in estate planning and you don't follow what we do, that's up to you. So, so if this is you, now think about this seriously. If this is you, this low cost, high impact, excellent training and implementation project will not change your life. So save your money. Why spend your money on something you're not going to implement? So, but if you have the proper mindset, all you need is a roadmap, an application process for those who have done business with you in the past, an application process for those who have not done business with you in the past, a systematic process with coaching and training, a math formula that works for you, a math formula to follow. And that's the hardest part of the whole deal. So the family tree asset positioning go-to first interview allows you to sell yourself before asking the client to buy. Some of you folks are so quick to go to a product sale that you lose the product sale. Some of you are too hungry. Some of you are too eager. Some of you have commitments you have to meet, and you're like the buzzard sitting in a tree. It turns around to his buddy and says, "Wait, my gosh, let's go kill something." Okay, but if you follow my process, your client, your I'm sorry, your prospect will decide for themselves that they want to do business with you before you offer them any products. That's the sweet spot, people. So here it is. They need to want to hire you to get it done. And if you can't go in with your presentation and create the need for that person to want to hire you to get it done, then you just used your gas money and you've used your time, and then you get desperate and you blow it by by becoming a product salesperson. So some of you already have the training program and the website license. Okay. I'm glad you do. Some of you have a 90-day plan examined weekly or monthly. Some of you don't. The ones that do are more successful. You have a process you can have faith in. That's me telling you can have faith in it. But one of the reasons that I think you come to me to learn is because I do this every day. I know you can have faith in it. I'm not saying, hey, this is an experiment. I'm saying this is a process. So, so if you already have the training program, maybe all you need is implementation skills. I'll show you how to do that. It's the numbers game. If you have a desire to change your life by changing your income structure, you're in the right spot if you want to use estate planning. I promise you, you're in the right spot. But don't say you're in the right spot and tell me why you can't do things. Because all I'm going to say to you is, if you don't implement what I say, I can't help you. So you got to have a self-image definition of who you are and who you want your market to see you as being and where you want to be at the end of each month in the coming year. It's just mindset. It's just that simple. So, so, I'm going to go back to your primary promise, and how you articulate your primary promise to prospects can make all the difference on whether you get hired quickly or if you hear those dreaded words, and we need to think about it. If they need to think about it, have you ever wondered what they're actually thinking about? What they're thinking about is whether they want you to implement their decision. That's where the sale is. It's not look at all these great products. Watch me take my top hat and my cane and dance for you. It's you want your primary promise to be easily understood by your prospects so they can hire you quickly in one meeting. That doesn't mean you sell them a product, because all you're selling in that first interview is yourself and the fact that they've done a good job with their assets. Don't you think they ought to have the right paperwork? It's that simple. That will lead you to the back end sale. You want your primary promise to differentiate you from all the so-called financial advisors out there who are really just asset gatherers and product pushers. Some of them are very good at it. But again, this is your only promise at this point. This is the only thing you need to accomplish is your primary promise. You think your suspect will benefit from a conversation with you about their current estate plan. And when your suspect agrees to talk with you on a favorable basis, they become a prospect. Some of you don't see that's a bridge that you have to cross. Because you cannot take a suspect to the bank, because the suspect is someone you think would benefit. And a prospect is someone who thinks they would benefit from a conversation with you. 10 suspects, 7 prospects. 7 prospects, 3 sales. Minimum 1 back-end sale. $15,000 to $20,000 income. If you can pick the right suspect. So once you have a suspect conversion based on your primary promise, all you have to do is implement your unique mechanisms in the proper order. Now, some of you go, oh, he's saying that again. He says the same thing all the time. Absolutely. I say the same thing all the time, because the people who absorb it move on and they go on into their career and they start making a lot of money. And they don't have to attend these meetings anymore because they get it. So the unique mechanisms in the proper order are the family tree asset positioning go-to first interview, the family estate doc software, the health questions, the staging of the second interview, which I call the back-end sale, and making the proper back-end presentation. I don't know how to make that any easier. It's like baking a cake. So, let's talk about the unique mechanisms a minute. Your unique mechanisms, if you use them properly, will align your client's choices with their most important goals and most deeply held values. And I teach you all the power phrases, when to say it, to lead them to the fact that they will take their most important goals and deeply held values and line it up with what you're saying. That's not a mistake. I didn't trip over it. It took me years to develop. But, if you help put your client's house in perfect order and allow them the tools to keep it that way, with the proper back-end funding, creates a level of confidence that no matter what happens, their goals will be achieved. I call that a sure thing. But you don't tell them, you don't go in as a product salesman and say, let me show you a sure thing versus a maybe. They won't be sold on that. They have to understand what the definition of a sure thing is and a maybe, and where in their financial life it needs to be applied. You do that in advance before you ever show the product. So what's the next step? So what's going to happen tomorrow? Tomorrow morning, all you people who attend this class and all my licensees are going to get an email. I sent this email to you before, but I'm going to try to identify what I think you need to do for 2024. And I need you to either tell me I'm right or I'm wrong. If you tell me I'm wrong, tell me what it is that you think you need. But I have a funny feeling if I look at your performance reviews, I'm going to know what you need. And when you read the email in the morning, I'm going to be right. And I hope it's just you haven't been here long enough to put it all in order or to scope it all in and put it to use. But if you've been here a long time and have plenty of time to put it in order and are not making at least one sale every 60 days, you're not coachable, or you don't want to be coachable. And my problem with that is I'm a coach. So it's up to you to decide the formula and the mindset. But you're going to get that email tomorrow if you're a licensee. And I'm going to say, this is where I think you are, and this is what I think the problem is. And I want to get rid of this problem for 2024 so that you can have a stupendous income in 2024. That's important to me because I measure other licensees measure me by the success I have with my current licensees. And Jen, you've told me many times that the majority of sales come from about 20% of your sales staff, and that's about right. Okay, but I want to move a lot of my licensees up into that. And if I see I can't move you up into that, I'm going to find somebody that wants to work with me that wants to do that, because there's millions of them out there. We are such a small factor in the market right now. The 100 licensees that I have, we are not even a drop in the bucket, and we know more than almost the other 3 million financial service professionals in America. And you can go in and compete for anybody's business in America using this process, because their current financial planners won't know what you're doing, and they'll be dumbfounded. And then I'll teach you how to fire the broker. But I can't teach you how to fire the broker if I can't teach you how to make an appointment. So it has to be your decision. It has to be your mindset, not mine. I'll be honest with you. My mindset is fine. Your willingness to learn and implement the most efficient, superior, easy to learn, easy to implement process called Family Tree Asset Positioning, the go-to first interview. It's a no-brainer to make it fit where you want to go. I need you to answer tomorrow's email or just schedule an appointment to talk. I'll help. I'll do everything I can. I'll give you my opinion. You might not like it, but I'll get, I'm just going to say, if you want this to work, start here. Or I might say, the reason it's not working is you've got the approach down, but you don't have the go-to first interview down. And it may be just as simple as you're not following the agenda, or you're giving up control of the conversation. That's one thing, folks, that doesn't happen in my interviews. I control the conversation because they invited me into their home to show them what I know and what I do. That's what you need to do. Okay. So anyway, let's go in and as far as I'm concerned now, are there any questions out there? Everybody can turn your stuff back on. And if you have any questions, let's throw them out there and talk about them. Jen, you got anything to say?
I don't have any questions today, Randy. I know what my problem is, but I don't have any questions.
Well, would you share the problem so that maybe everybody will say that's my problem too, and we can work on it?
Seriously, this is the first time in my life I've been depressed. That's my problem.
Okay. All right. Is that outside of what we're doing or inside?
Outside.
Okay. All right. And could you possibly state the answer to that? Because if we can state the answer, we can ask the questions how to get there.
The answer to dealing with depression? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah. I know you've
I know what I should do. Yeah.
Okay.
I can go outside and I take a walk outside in the fresh air and the sunshine every single day. I'll be just fine.
Okay. I understand that. Don't feel like the Lone Ranger. I think every one of us on this thing has been depressed at some time.
Well, I realize that. I realize it's very common, but it's just, I have to just get out there and do it.
Okay. Okay. Um, and I appreciate you saying that because, you know, if you say that's the problem, okay, then the answer is uh, you need to get away from the depression. So then we need to make a list of things that you need to do. The same thing is true when you look at your income or your sales process. Okay. So anybody else out there that wants to add a comment to what we're doing here? Cynthia, how about you?
Yeah. Well, one of my uh positions has been, the people that I know. And I've just decided that I'm going to approach them anyway, because what I don't want them to say is, why didn't you tell me? Or why didn't you come to me? Why didn't I know? And all I can say is yes or no. You know what I'm saying? And so, but I don't know that
Cynthia,
unless I tell them,
absolutely, Cynthia. And you know, they may have a problem economically or in their family structure that they just need someone to talk to. And if you have that access to them, and if you say the right thing to them, whether they buy from you or not right at that moment, you have set them on the path.
to thinking about it anyway. Yes.
Right, right.
Yes.
Kim Scott, how about you? Are you with us, Kim?
Yeah, I'm here. I tried to do the video, but it said that you turned all the videos off, right?
No, I didn't turn any videos off. What videos are you talking about?
Well, so that you could see me and I could see other people. It says you cannot
Oh,
start your video because the host has stopped it.
oh well. I don't know
But
what
that's
that's got to
okay.
do. That's okay. I want to focus on this process.
Sure, I
Um,
got it.
you don't have
Yeah,
videos
I
of me
do have
letting
a
apples.
comment or a question or
Yes, please.
okay. I put it in the comment, the chat section. I get emails from you dear brother of mine, for probably 4 or 5 a day, or maybe less, maybe only 1 or 2. But I've got probably 100 emails, and I know that you've talked to me once or twice. But what might help me right now to jumpstart here in the next 2 weeks would be if you kind of switch what you're doing on your Zoom calls and actually took. I don't know if you know anybody that would be willing to do it, but where you're the estate planner and you have a husband and wife and you go through the whole process. You start off with your first meeting and you do the family tree, and then you do the inputting on the information, and you could probably do it in 2 or 3 webinars. But if you could just sink that down into like 3 or 4 bites that I can then put together a presentation and go
Okay.
out,
All right.
because
Well,
right now I don't know lesson 20 to pull from 21, do this or that. I'm just kind of overwhelmed.
okay. Well, we all learn differently. Okay.
All right.
So I will tell you that lesson 21, 22, 23, and 24 are the real meat of the whole process. But when I do the advanced training spoon fed, I have to make the assumption that you need to watch the videos to learn what's going on. If you go to FTAP training, have you been on my randallbaxter.com website?
Right.
And if you've been on there and you've used the password FTAP courses, COURSES, you're going to get an ebook, and on the top right hand column is me breaking down the sales process for you.
Okay.
Okay. So if you click on that and watch it, and then schedule an appointment with me, I'll do that presentation for you personally.
Okay. All right.
All
Okay.
right?
That's
So,
the deal.
and,
That's the deal.
and I want to do that for everybody. And most of you I've done it for. But then also, if you go inside the lessons, if you take the family tree asset positioning, go to first interview, that little ebook, I break down all the different family structures.
Right.
And we've attached how to draw the family trees. And I'm not a great artist. Everything I do looks like a fifth grader drew it. But my clients don't care. When I draw their family tree, they know who it is. And I promise you, if you draw that family tree, they will start poking it with their finger in the circle of the person that they want to represent them. They will pull that piece of paper up and they'll start talking to you about that. And really Kim, I appreciate your statement there. Yes, and Jen Fishburne did it too. Jen did a great presentation. I've got the presentation on my website. Ryan Stone did a great presentation. I've watched his presentation. He uses a whiteboard. But what I would prefer to do with you, Kim, is for you to watch that training on the right-hand column of the FTAP courses, and then let's you and I have a conversation and talk about it. I think you might find that might really work real well, and I will try and do that video for you all sometime in January. Right now, the year's running out on me, and next week I have to teach the software so everybody can learn how to use the software.
Sure. Thank you.
I'll walk you through every step I can.
Okay.
Felicia?
Randy,
Yes.
Jen, I want to respond to what he just asked. So he's asking the same thing that that you and I talked about a couple of weeks ago about doing more demonstrations. And maybe you could just ask right now, people just put it in the chat. How many people want to see more demonstrations?
Well, I tell you what,
I do.
Okay, all right. So, and one of my answers to that is, if you're making the approach, you will learn the demonstration. I'll do a demonstration for you all if that's what you all want, but it won't do us any good if you're not approaching anybody.
We need demonstrations from all of it. We need demonstrations of the approach. We need demonstrations of each section of the interview, because I know that you've taught us how to do it, but when you gave us that demonstration 2 weeks ago of just the income gaps and cliffs, it was way different from what we imagined it. All of us, I promise. And so we need lots of demonstrations, not just one demonstration. I mean, I did one. It's in the archives. You guys can go and look and see. But we need you, Randy, to give lots of demonstrations with different kinds of clients and stuff. And this is what we were talking about a couple of weeks ago. I promise you, everybody on this webinar wants that. And you can read that here. Everybody wants that.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Here's what I'll do. Everybody that can prove to me that they know how to do the approach, I will help them do the sales presentation, and I'll show that. But it doesn't do us any good if we don't take the first step to work on the third step. And the sales presentation, you've got the script, you've got the agenda, you've got the confidential, you've got the power phrases, you've got the video on FTAP courses, you've got the book, you've got everything that everybody has to apply their own skill to it, their own approach. And I agree with what you all were saying, but at the same time, what I'm telling you is you're going to learn it better by doing it than convincing yourself that you need to see more demonstrations. But I will do that for you all. I want you to grow and prosper. I want you to have what you want, but my expectations, if I give you what you want, you got to give me what I want. And all I can say to you is, I need to teach you how to approach people, because that, a lot of people say, hey, I want to learn a sales presentation, have never approached anybody. And if if they're saying, I don't know the sales presentation, I will tell you over and over and over, just like a good football player, it's how many games you play in. And if you're not playing, if you're not getting in there and getting the first interview, once you make an appointment, I promise you that if you make an appointment that's 4 days from now, because you use the approach, I promise you that you will take your energy and you will dive into that sales presentation, and you will be prepared, and you can talk to me and I will prepare you for that presentation. But it doesn't do a lot of good to prepare you for a presentation that you don't have any appointments to do. And that's just, you know, that's the fact.
Hey,
So,
Coach,
hey,
you're 100% right. Now, this is James. You have a
okay.
tremendous playbook. You have tremendous training on the website, and you are a tremendous coach. Really, you are. However, even in the NFL, they all have their playbooks, but every week they watch film of the game, review the game, and that's what we're all talking about. Is we know we agree with you. We have to do our part on the playbook training, on the training, but to see the actual demonstrations of the approach or a full presentation with a couple so that we can see how it all comes together, because you've got a great playbook, but there are a lot of moving parts to your playbook, and being able to see the final movie version on an approach or on a full presentation, I think that's what we're all asking for, to see the cake after it comes out of the oven.
All right. So the first Tuesday in January, I'm going to do it. Okay. I'm
Fantastic.
not, you know, I will do that for you all. But then you owe me.
Correct.
You got to approach some people and get some appointments. Those of you who need appointments, a lot of you don't need appointments. A lot of you, you know, a lot of you have taken the format that I have and have run with it. Okay, and like I said, when I see that one of my agents has already done $700,000 in commissions. I talked to one right now that's probably writing his third million. And, you know, and like I said, everybody learns different. Everybody starts at a different spot. Okay, so I've got some professional salespeople that read that script and apply themselves to it, and they're off and running. I will make that presentation for you all the first week of January, because I don't have any more Tuesdays left in this year. But I will do that for you. And Kim, I appreciate your input, and James, your input too. And I will do the best job I can at doing that for you all. How's that?
Thank
Fantastic.
you.
Fantastic.
Okay. But you got to remember, if you attend that meeting and then don't start approaching people, don't anybody take this too serious, but if you attend that meeting and don't approach anybody, you just wasted my time. Yeah, so I need you to learn to do the approach and to start making appointments that you're going to have after the first Tuesday in January, because that's my expectation. If you have an expectation, I have one too. And all I can say to you is, I want to help everybody here start where they are and grow in this process, because all I can tell you is, see, if you're looking at this "Thanks for your time" video right now, if you look out in the ocean, there's a wave coming. I keep telling you, there's a wave coming. If you are not prepared, it will knock you down, and the people who are prepared are going to prosper. And you have to be ready, and you have to take the first step before you take the third step. The first step is the approach, and the second step is the presentation. I understand that. But at the same time, if you do not study my presentation before the first week in the first Tuesday in January, what's that all about? Take the trainings that I have. Take the process. You know, I've done the reading process. I've done the video process. I've done every different approach to show you all what to do. And now that you all told me what you really want, I'm going to give it to you, because that's your expectations, and you have to follow my expectations too. You have to start making the approaches. Is that fair?
Fair.
Okay. All right. What else? What other questions do we have there? Jen and Kim? Felicia, what kind of question do you have?
Sorry, there is a little bit of background noise here. I just wanted to know about the demographic of the best clients. But somebody just texted me that you already sent it, but maybe I missed the email. I was just curious who would be the right.
Okay, Felicia, send me an email and I will send you that avatar spreadsheet.
Okay.
Okay, if you didn't get it, I'll go through my list and see why you didn't get it. You and I just started talking heavily the past week or so. So you probably haven't made all the master active campaign lists. I'll get Lisa to check that for me. But if you'll just send me an email at randallbaxter@randallbaxter.com, I will see to it that you have that spreadsheet before the day's over. And all it does, I'm going to send you the generic one because and you know what, I'd probably pay $26,000 to learn that. And when I went to learn that, I didn't know it. And then now it just seems so simple and so easy. The fact that if I identify my avatar, I know exactly what to do, and I know exactly what needs to be done. And so that first email I sent yesterday was a generic avatar that gave you the questions you need to ask to qualify somebody to become an avatar. And then what I sent today was the avatar for the ideal suspect. And some of those are things like they have disabled children, they have a second marriage, they have a first marriage with grown adult children that live out of state. You know, there's so many different qualifications for those avatars. And when people say they don't have anybody to talk to, if they'll just pull up that spreadsheet and answer those questions right there and identify those people, you're going to have 10 suspects immediately. So, Felicia, I will get that to you today. How about something else from somebody else? Anything?
Okay, I've got a question. It's Kim again.
Okay,
you probably
Kim.
have watched both the Avatar movies, right?
No, I know they're
Really?
blue.
Well,
I watched the first one. Go ahead.
Okay, what confuses me is the Avatar is supposed to be what you are. So are you telling me these avatars are typical prospects? These are the features or the
I only saw one avatar. I saw one avatar at the movie, Kim. I saw the first one, and all those avatars were different. I mean, they were all blue, but they were all different.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But I guess, can you define what an avatar, what your avatar is? Just define it in a couple sentences.
Okay. All right. Okay. Someone that I'm going to approach that I think would benefit from a conversation with me may be a husband and wife who are retired and have children who live in a different state. They may be a husband and wife who are thinking about retirement, and one of them has a health issue. Another avatar might be a widow who never made financial decisions before and needs someone to help them and guide them through the future. Another avatar might be someone who has a disabled child, or they have another avatar might be somebody who has a credit problem.
Okay, I get all that. I don't think you have to call them an avatar. Prospects, we all get that. We're all in the insurance business.
Okay,
you don't have to mix all these words together.
No, we do. Here's why.
All right.
If I don't teach you to identify a suspect, so many people in the sales industry go out and say, I have a prospect, when actually they don't. They don't have a prospect, they have a suspect. Somebody they think would benefit from a conversation with them. Nobody gets up this morning and stretches their arms out and says, I'm going to go out and buy an estate plan. They know they need to do it, and there's reasons why they haven't done it. Okay, but they're not waiting, but they one of these days somebody's going to walk up and say, I've looked at your situation in life. You're one of my clients. I understand that you brought 2 children to the marriage, and your second wife brought 3 children to the marriage, and you all had 1 child yourself. I think you would benefit from a conversation with me about your current estate plan. You can identify, and the reason I call it an avatar is every marketer in the United States of America, that's what they call a suspect.
That's not true. That's not true.
All right, tell me why. Tell me
as
why.
of last week, I all of a sudden you brought this avatar thing in, and believe me, I've been in the real estate and insurance business over 35 years. I never had anybody in either of those areas in the marketing departments call a prospect an avatar.
Well,
So
that's a
I mean,
semantic. That's a semantic,
so
Kim.
please, I mean, really, you're
No.
doing us a disservice to try to add all these things in here. Just, I mean, avatars. There's no reason to call it anything other than a
Okay, all right.
prospect or
No, that's not true, Kim. That's not what
All
I
right.
teach. So it's not true.
Okay.
An
right.
avatar is generic. A suspect is defined, but has not agreed to have a conversation with you yet. And if you want to be a master in sales, you'll go out and look and you'll see who is the type of person I want to sell to. And that will make them a suspect. And then I will properly approach them and get them to agree to have a conversation with me on a favorable basis about that topic. That's what makes them a prospect. Those are not the same thing. And the people who are weak at prospecting have to be taught that there's a couple of stages in the relationship before they become a prospect. That's where the professional sales come in. That's where if you learn to do that and increase the momentum on what you do on identifying your avatars, you will have more suspects. And then if you handle the approach correctly, you'll have more prospects. And I'll be honest with you, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it because it's true. You know, the salespeople all over the world throw around the word prospect when they actually don't have a prospect. They have a suspect. And if they will look at that suspect and identify the traits about that suspect, and then go out and find more people like that, that's called an avatar. And I think the word avatar in marketing existed long before the avatars in the movie. And the definition of the avatars in the movie are exactly what I'm talking about in the avatar in marketing. That's where the word came from. An avatar is not a blue human on an imaginary world. An avatar is someone that fits a description and tells you what you need to say or do with them to advance them into the suspect, prospect, client, advocate stages.
That makes sense.
Good.
Makes sense to me.
Okay,
It
I'm
makes sense to
outvoted.
me.
I'm outvoted. I'll be quiet.
No, don't be quiet, Kim. You just enlightened everybody on this screen. That's great. Yeah, that's important. So I'm glad I could answer your question.
Good comment, Kim.
What else we got out there? We still got a little bit of time. You know, what I threw at you all today was becoming a professional salesman of the estate planning process and what it takes, who you need to be, what you need to want, what your goals are. Okay. You know, each video that we put on the website builds on that. And I try to take what I learned. All we're doing here in December is taking videos of what I learned in November that you all want.
Randy?
So, yes, sir.
Do we talk enough about, or do we focus enough on the consequences to the family, to the client, when they go into when they have an incapacity, they don't have the guardianship paperwork set up, or the consequences when the family goes into probate because they don't have a trust set up? But do we emphasize and focus enough on the consequences they're going to endure if they don't have what we have to help them?
You should, and if you want to, you know, and when you draw the family tree, that I focus on the children. If I'm doing an existing trust, I go in and find out at what age do they want to distribute to the children. Yes, you can talk about the guardianship all you want to. Most of the time, you can tell whether people. What I want to do most time, if I look at their life insurance policy and see that the life insurance agent has named the children as contingent beneficiaries, I'm getting ready to fire that life insurance agent.
Why?
Because the insurance companies aren't going to pay that money to those children without a trust. without the proper documents, without a guardian, and the life
Oh,
insurance agents
minor
are out there.
children, you mean minor
Yeah,
children?
right, minor children. And
Yeah.
so they're doing a disservice, and I don't know how to say this right. It's an ignorant disservice. They don't know any better because they're not taught. And if you go in and on page 3 of the confidential and you're talking about their assets and you ask them how much money they have in the bank and how much they have in the money market and get down to how much life insurance they have, you can stop right there and say, who are the beneficiaries on that life insurance policy? And they'll say, oh, my wife and then my children.
And Randy, can I speak?
Yes.
The other thing to that is, suppose they have an adult child though that has concerns with gambling, addiction issues, and a lot of times they don't know how they need to, distribute to them, and they don't know that they can set it up in such a way that a ton of money doesn't go to an addictive personality
Right.
loved one.
So if you draw the family tree and you ask them about
Mhm.
those children, it's okay to ask them if there's any drug problems or any money problems or any credit problems or any
It's a
divorce
lot more
problems. It's
common
okay.
than people think.
I think probably 1 out of 4 has a family member with a drug issue.
Yeah, or alcoholism,
Right. Right.
gambling.
And
Those
nobody
3
has
things,
addressed that.
Mhm.
Nobody has addressed that, and there's a real good chance that their life insurance agent just said, "Here, take that. It's easier for me just to write their name down and go on to the next sale." They're product salesmen, and they're not actually, and you're actually supposed to be licensed, to sell life insurance in any state. You have to know those things, but life insurance agents don't
They don't
concentrate
talk
on that.
about it.
No.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so when I come in and I talk about it, not only am I going to fire the broker, I'm going to fire the life insurance agent, and I'm going to get them to move that business over to me. Either I'm going to service it because that represents a future sale, not the back end sale. But remember, I've talked to you about front end sales and back end sales and future sales. I have a big income in my life because of future sales, and they're called death claims. Used to be when I was a whippersnapper at New York Life, nobody was ever dying. I was about to starve to death. I was leading the company in the number of units sold every year and about to starve to death because they were all buying $100,000 life insurance policies and paying $12 a month for them. And one of my mentors looked at me and said, Randy, I know what the problem is. And I said, what? And he said, you need to add a 0 to the end of those death claims. And then I started going out and convincing people that they were worth $1 million dead instead of 100,000, and my income went up by 10 times. So,
Say that again.
Say what again?
What you just said about the death claims. I missed something.
Well, if you missed it, you ought to know what it was you missed. What was it?
I'm not sure.
He's saying that they need to sell $1 million death life insurance policies instead of $100,000 life policies.
Right. And you need to convince people that they're worth more than that. If you look at a mom and dad today, 30-year-old parents, and they've got 2 or 3 children, they're running around with $100,000 of life insurance based on their employer benefit, and if they don't own one on their own, that's the problem. And I promise you that they went in on their group life insurance policy and they named their spouse and their children because they didn't know any better. And you got the opportunity to let them benefit from a conversation with you about their current estate plan because they will learn something they were not aware of. See, I can always
have no idea how much life insurance they should have.
That's right. That's right. But you sell life insurance and disability to the younger people. You'll sell income planning, big commission products to people 55 years and older. And again, I'm just kidding you right here. But your avatar should be at least 55 or 60 years old if you want to make the big back-end sales on the income plans. An avatar to me here in Tennessee might be that I'm in Knoxville, but 30 miles away is a town called Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and it is just full of engineers who are about to retire. It's just full of TVA people, government employees who are about to retire. That's the avatar. Now, I don't know what their name is, so now I need to find out who works at TVA or who works at Oak Ridge. Once I get their name, and once I get their age, and once I get their goals, and once I get their family structure, and then I get all that stuff, I have a suspect. Don't have a prospect yet. That's why every one of you, if you just do me a favor and go to my website, randallbaxter.com, go to FTAP training, you put in the password FTAP courses and go down to the left-hand column about halfway down, and there's a video in there. It says, "Let me teach you how to hunt." And you
Hey,
know what?
Randall, do you have time for another one?
Of course.
Okay, you gave an example of if we make three family doc sales, we'd make
Okay.
3,800. How did you get that?
Well, you sell it at $1,995. Okay. The wholesale cost is $695. And so you make a gross of $1,300. Okay. You have to pay the credit fee, the credit charge. That's 5%. That takes $100 off that 1,300. And you also need to deliver that trust. That means you need to buy a notebook for it. You need to print off the paper, and you need to make what I call a Godiva presentation, or Godiva delivery. And that means it's a first class delivery. The lady who left my office yesterday at 4 o'clock, when she left the office, she was hugging her book. Well, that book costs about $29 plus the paper and everything. That's about $50. So I went in and subtracted $150 off that 1,300, and then multiplied that by the number of sales, and that gave me the 3,400. But I know that out of 3 estate plans, and Kim, I'm not giving you a hard time here, but out of those 3 estate plans, there's a real good chance that one of them is going to be closer to the cliff than the other in the sales presentation because of health. There's going to be one of them who doesn't have the income the other one has. There's going to be one of them and these are things you find out when you do the process. Okay. Once my biggest sales in September were a man that came in and told me that his memory was failing, and that he wasn't sure he was making the best decisions in the market. And his wife started shaking
Randall?
her head. Yes.
Yeah, I get all that. I guess my only question, and I don't know if you can answer it here, because there's all kinds of levels, but for a brand new person, do they get a check for that whole 1,300, or does their upline get part of that?
No, the upline is in the wholesale cost.
Oh, okay.
That's,
I didn't know.
$695.
Okay. Got it.
But
Thank you.
But you know,
no.
well, so Kim, let me, and some of you have heard me say this before, but if I said, "Hey, Kim, take your wife a present tonight, and it has to be chocolate," and you run by Walmart and buy her a $7 bag of Hershey's Kisses, and then her boyfriend comes in with a pound of chocolate that's all wrapped up in a box and got a card in it, and each chocolate's individually wrapped, which one's she gonna like the best?
Well, my wife likes, or my wife to be, who I'm going to get married in April to. Hopefully she'll like mine.
Well, she probably will, Kim. I understand that.
I think so too.
Okay. So let's throw the boyfriend. Let's throw the boyfriend out and say you have a choice. You can take the $7 bag of chocolate in, or you can take the $50 gift wrapped, individually wrapped chocolate with a little description about each chocolate in it with a card. It's still a pound of chocolate, right? But it's the delivery. So some of you folks who are Zooming out there and not making proper delivery, some of you are just Zooming and selling the trust and emailing it to them and telling them to go notarize it and not putting it in a book, and you're missing out on the big opportunity to make that back end sale. So and Cynthia, I mentioned it to you. Yes, you make $1,300 when you sell it for $1,995. That's gross, and you determine your net by the type of delivery you make. And the better the delivery you make, the better chance you've got to open the door to the back end sale.
Okay. And Randy, I know that you sent out information about, the type of notebook to get, but it's lost in all the emails that I've got.
Okay. All right.
Could you resend that, please?
Linda, are you there? Will you send me that link to the purchase of the books and everything so I can send it to everybody? Yeah, what lesson is that? Lesson 6? Okay. For those of you who have your lessons, go to lesson 6, but Linda's going to email it to me and I'll send it out to everybody. You know, and I'm going to be honest with everybody. I don't think there's anything missing in those lessons. So, you know, all you have to do is spend your 10 or 15 minutes each day, and I'll walk you through it. But if you want to go through it faster, use the fast track training.
Okay.
Okay, so it's all in there, and it's okay to ask questions once a week, but at the same time, uh, what I would say to you first is, yeah, you need one book, but you need more approaches so you can need more books
Sure.
because that's how your income goes up. So, and you know what? Yes, go ahead.
It's Jen. I do want to say that you can do the exact same thing on Zoom. I put it into a nice fancy book. I send it to them in the mail, and then we just do the whole thing on Zoom.
And that's great. And I know you do.
All right. So I want to make sure that you understand that. Just
no, I
doing
understood that with you. I also
right.
understand there's a couple of people out there that think that they can make a living just selling the trust and emailing it. And if you want to make $20,000 a year selling trust, you're going to have to sell 20 a month. But if you sell 3 and do the proper back end funding, you only have to sell 3. I'm trying to show everybody the easy way to get to the $250,000 income.
Jen,
Cynthia has a question for you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Is there a way that I can get in contact with you?
Yeah, you can talk to Randy.
Okay. I just want to get your permission.
Yeah, I will introduce you all by email and let you all take that wherever you want to go.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right.
Can I toss a question out to the group?
Of course, please.
Okay, I have been in California. I've moved to Arizona, but in getting the trust notarized, I paid for it. This was my first ones, and it ran about $225 to $250.
Wow.
Okay.
And I'm wondering if anybody else or other people, what is it costing across the country to get that done?
Well, I think it costs just about, I don't know what it costs in Arizona, but I just became a notary. And so that I notarize it myself because I believe in the face-to-face interview. Now,
Yes.
there's websites out there that will do notary online, and then there's also notary services. But you know, I did one in Crossville, Tennessee the other day in a library, and she brought her bookworm friends, and everybody sat there and sat around the table, and I just had my notary, and they were the witnesses, and I did it for nothing. Okay, so
that might be an option.
Well,
so
I think it's a good option. Go ahead, Jen. Yes, please.
All right. So I do, just so everybody understands, I do all of these on Zoom all across the nation. So I never see anybody in real life. So it can work both ways. That is really the only thing that I do different from what Randy does. Okay. Everything else that I do is the same as what Randy does. So I had to figure out the notary type thing. And at first I got notarized where I was. Didn't do me any good because I'm not seeing anybody in real life. If you are seeing people in real life, I strongly recommend you just get your notary and then you can take care of it. That's easy. If not, though, because I am delivering these by mail and then I'm going over it with the client on Zoom before they go to get them notarized, then I just tell everybody, do you have a notary at your bank? That's my first question. Do you have a notary at your bank? So far, the answer has been 100% yes. So that's where they go because the very first step in the funding process is go to your bank. So we get that done at the same time. They get their thing notarized and they get all of the funds transferred in their bank at the same time. That's the easiest one. Otherwise, you can just look up notaries wherever you're at. Put it on your Google Maps or your Apple Maps or whatever. Hundreds of them will pop up. The UPS store is a really easy one. I think it's like $6 at the UPS store. But the libraries, most libraries have them for free. There are some mobile notaries and stuff. They're going to cost you a lot of money. You don't need to do that. There's a lot of free ways or really cheap ways that you can get notaries for people. So that's my 2 cents.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Google
you know,
Notary in the local area.
Say that again, sir.
Google notaries in your local area or wherever you
Okay.
want to be.
Okay.
Call them and
All right.
ask them what their local fees are.
Okay. And here's just what I want to say to you. If you want to control the relationship, make sure you do as much for that client as you can do and make it as easy for them as possible because
Yes.
it's not the front end sale that's going to make you prosper. It's the back end sale and all future
Yep.
sales. Okay. And Jim, one thing about taking it to the bank, you got to remember now that what that teller or what that notary is going to do is call the broker upstairs and say, "Hey, there's a lady here with a trust. You probably want to make an appointment with them." Okay, so there's a little bit of an option there where you could lose a case because they went to their local bank. What?
We don't want that.
Well,
By the time I'm there, Randy, there's no way any stranger is going to take them away from
and Jen,
their best buddy.
I believe that about you. I believe that because I know how much experience you have. I don't think I'd have a problem with it. But some of the novices and things like that, they need to be aware that they could open themselves up to losing a good possible sale by taking it to the bank.
Actually, that's a really good point, though, that we could do as a objection handling up front. If they want to talk to your legal department, go to a different bank. That's it.
Okay.
Right? It does not have to be done. Just tell them that up front. So if that's something that is happening, that's a great way to handle it right up front.
Okay. So let me tell you what I've learned today. I've learned that what you all want on the sales presentation, and what I hope you've learned is the sales presentation is 3 or 4 days away from the approach in most cases. And if you'll make the approach, you will learn the sales presentation in that 3 or 4 days because you will feel the pressure to dive in and be good at it. And I don't want you to stall your own personal production because you don't feel comfortable with the sales presentation. Even if we do the full sales presentation, your first time, you're still going to feel a little uncomfortable about it unless you follow my agenda. And unless you follow the written sales presentation verbatim, and unless you understand where the power phrases go. The power phrases can bounce around. The presentation can bounce around. It just depends on how the conversation goes. But if you're controlling it, it's okay. And if you're following the agenda, you're fine. Don't be afraid. You probably, and something I've been telling you all for months, you only have to be one step ahead of your client while you're learning. One step. And if that step is, if you consider that step to be the sales presentation, then that tells me that maybe you are comfortable and mastered the approach. Put yourself in a forced situation where you have to learn that sales presentation because you've already approached somebody and made an appointment with them and they want to talk to you on a favorable basis. I promise you will learn that presentation quicker that way than if you're waiting 2 or 3 weeks for me to film it for you. And that's all I got to say about that. I guess I had to say it. But I want you to know that I believe that everybody here, if they knew they had a presentation tomorrow, would do their homework tonight. We call that cramming in a college. You will do your homework and you will learn that presentation. If you call me frustrated, here's what I'm going to say to you. Just follow the agenda. That's it. If you follow the agenda and read the agenda, your brain will trigger everything that you need to say by following that agenda. And you will be fine. And you will close cases. And if you take the approach to a prospect, and if you do it right, you're only going to sell the estate plan. You're not going to sell the funding. You're not going to do the back end interview. But once you sell the estate plan, then you've got a week, if you do it right, to learn the presentation. Excuse me, to talk to me or talk to whoever you want as an advisor or a mentor on your products. And they will help you set up what you need to do. And the question I asked today to one of my licensees was, hey, you got a presentation, and you've run a bunch of illustrations. Are your illustrations matching their gap in their cliff? And if they are, they're going to buy it. If they're really serious about the problem, the gap in the cliff, and if you've converted the avatar to suspect to a prospect, you've already built the bridge to the sale. Nobody can beat me on my spreadsheets when I'm moving people across my spreadsheets, because I know if I'm moving 10, I'm going to sell 3. And all I have to do is have a fresh list of 10. And when I get people to advocate for me, every couple, especially if they have witnesses in their home, when I go to their home, I have to take a picture of their driver's license as a notary. So I get their name and their address and their driver's license number and their birthday and everything about them. And then as they leave, I look at them and go, hey, you know, you might benefit from a conversation with me about your estate plan too. You probably haven't just gotten around to it. And they go, no, we haven't thought about that. And I'll hand them around to it. So, you know, it's just all being prepared and being ready to go. I don't think there's anybody on this webinar today that can't go out and close those cases today unless you don't have an appointment with a prospect. Let that sink in for the next couple of weeks. Okay, what else we got? Anything else? Well, this was a long one today, wasn't it? That's good. I will have you a presentation the first Tuesday in January. What is that, January 2nd? You guys want to be there January 2nd? Or are you going to be watching football? That's okay. I'm going to do it January 2nd, and then I'm going to put it on the website. And then you can go to FTAP training and FTAP courses, and you can watch it. So that'll work good too. All right. Any more hands raised up? Any more remarks or questions? Listen, I appreciate your advice and you coaching me on what you need. And you know, if your expectation is that, then my expectation will be, I'll give you that, and in exchange for that, I want you to approach 10 people. I hope you will. I'm going to sign off unless somebody raises their hand or asks one more question. I had fun today. I hope you all did. And I think we're all growing, and everybody needs to identify where they are. You're going to get that email tomorrow. Identify where you are. Help me know what to teach you. And
Thank you so much.
Okay. And then Kim, you asked some real hard questions today, and I think we got them answered. I don't think anyone has asked a question in the past year that we haven't been able to answer. And the reason I'm saying that is because I'll be honest with you, I've already got a canceled check for every mistake any of y'all could ever make in this business. Now take that for wisdom. I think I can help you not make those mistakes if you'll just talk to me and communicate with me. So I'm done. It's getting dark out here in East Tennessee. So I hope everybody has a great weekend, great week. Christmas is coming next week on the 19th. You are going to be taught how to use the software. Now, some of you don't need to be there. That's great. But if you need to learn the software, you need to put 3 o'clock on December 19th, because you're going to get taught how to use the software by somebody who's used it over 150 times this year. Me. So I'll show you how to use it. Other than that, I'll talk to you next week, and I hope everybody.
Thank you. Have a good week. Bye-bye.
Right, you all safe. Bye.